This is CBC Vancouver News.
The freezing rain is such a concern, in fact, that my ministry is strongly advising against any form of travel from tonight through Saturday.
The bluntest warning yet as another winter storm bears down on BC and the South Coast. Also,
I wish I knew how long I would have to wait.
We stood in line yesterday for 12, 13 hours.
more flight and ferry cancellations, travelers waiting and hoping as another storm makes its way in. And a year in review, we look back at healthcare for 2022 and what's to come for 2023. Good evening, I'm Zahra Premji. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stay home. That is a terse message from the provincial government to everyone in BC tonight as another winter storm bears down on us. Now, this, of course, is not the message anyone wants to hear as the holiday weekend nears. Environment Canada is predicting up to 30 centimeters of heavy snow in parts of the South Coast, Vancouver Island, and the southern interior over the next 2 days.
There'll be the hazard of freezing rain. Now, freezing rain is a phenomenon where you have snow that melts through above freezing layer and then refreezes at the surface, creating very slippery conditions and can also add weight to structures, causing damage to power lines as well.
That freezing rain is predicted to be up to 80 millimeters, but if you plan to still hit the road, the province is warning you, roads and highways could be closed with little warning and you could be stranded.
I know people have plans for the holidays. They want to spend time with family, friends, and loved ones. But this is a significant weather event. But the timing is going to be tricky to go from plowing a heavy dump of snow to laying down salt to combat the freezing rain. It will be a big challenge.
The minister says Malahat Highway and Highway 4 to Port Alberni and the Coquihalla are of particular concern, but that doesn't mean city streets are fair game. If you must attempt the roads, he is demanding and reminding you to not pass the crews working on the roads and to please be patient. Now, travelers planning to fly with WestJet, it has proactively canceled all flights arriving and departing from YVR after 11:50 p.m. tonight, so in less than an hour.
Go from Prince George to Seattle, and you do realize it's like 2 hours or several hours flight. And I'm doing already like 4 days.
And I came here trying to find a way to get a flight to Los Angeles before the final time. But right now, I don't know anymore.
This pause will go until tomorrow afternoon at least. Flights are also canceled at airports including Abbotsford, Victoria, Nanaimo, and Comox. WestJet has opted to do the same for flights arriving and departing Toronto Pearson on Friday as well. And speaking of flights, cancellations and delays, YVR still hasn't recovered from the blast of winter weather at the beginning of the week. As Renee Filipponi shows us, people are trying to get to their destinations by any means necessary.
The struggle is real for passengers trying to rebook canceled flights. For days, Haley Carolam has been trying to get to Montreal.
I've tried calling their helpline 3 times, but they have too many calls, so I just get hung up on every time.
Travel at Vancouver International Airport ground to a halt when snow fell Monday night. People were trapped on the tarmac for hours. With more snow on the way, the airport promises that won't happen again and are even proactively canceling flights for tomorrow.
It is the worst timing to have this kind of snow event right at the holidays. We apologize. We feel for passengers.
It's created a chain reaction across the country. Some passengers have been sleeping at the airport for days and hope they can get home tonight.
Just hope my plane's on time, leave before the storm hits.
We do have a storm coming here tomorrow, so that is going to be layer on another complication during a week that we already knew was really going to be busy.
Aviation experts say there is more to this than just the weather.
We're still being bit by the pandemic indirectly, and it's a loss of staff, loss of experience.
Airlines say they are doing what they can to rebook people and offer refunds, but it's not enough for some.
I think customer service is an oxymoron in the aviation industry today, whether it's the airports, whether it's the airlines.
Some travelers are trying to avoid YVR altogether. Tanya Slingsby's flight to Tampa was canceled. So now she's taking a float plane to Seattle, where she will catch another flight to Florida.
Air Canada canceled all the flights to Seattle yesterday, so I'm sure there's so many people trying to get there, and everything was booked full. Trains, buses, shuttles.
She got the last seat on this flight, taking her one step closer to being reunited with her family this Christmas. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
Beyond those trying to catch a plane, passengers traveling by sea, bus, or train are being hit by the freezing temperatures paired with the holiday travel rush. BC ferry sailings have been delayed all day due to weather conditions and mechanical issues, and nearly 20 sailings from Tsawwassen, Swartz Bay, Salt Spring Island, and more have been canceled for the upcoming morning. TransLink is asking customers to avoid traveling, and for those who need to, it says they should expect considerable delays. Now, the massive winter wallop is also set to hit the Fraser Valley. Snow, freezing rain, and ice pellets are in the forecast. Benit Brach has more on the race to protect livestock and people.
These little ones are being put in their version of winter coats. This farmer doing everything he can to prepare as another storm closes in.
We'll put blankets on them, add the straw, just to kind of give them some comfort from the heat.
The barn gates are closed, curtains are drawn to keep the heat in, all steps to ease the anxiety of the cold here in Abbotsford's Sumas Prairie.
Pretty prepared for when it comes and hits us. I mean, yeah, when I'm staying in bed and all I can hear is the wind whistling past the house, it does add some anxiety and stress.
Bad road conditions create extra challenges for farmers like Meyer.
We actually ended up having to put some milk down the drain just because the milk trucks couldn't get to us on time, and I mean, we had to keep milking.
And across the south coast, up to 30 centimeters of heavy snow could fall, along with ice pellets and freezing rain. Environment Canada says that freezing rain could last 36 hours in the valley.
I can't understate the significance of the incoming weather front.
And the province is warning people.
Rarely do we see such heavy snow followed by freezing rain and heavy rainfall.
Officials say crews are preparing to help keep the roads clear, but it won't be easy.
The timing is going to be tricky to go from plowing a heavy dump of snow to laying down salt to combat the freezing rain. It will be a big challenge.
With safety as a priority, the message is clear.
It's an unnecessary risk unless you absolutely have to drive. Now is the time to sort out with your family and with your employers other ways to avoid having to be on the roads.
The impact will be felt from the streets to the sky, like here at Abbotsford Airport.
There will be some delays, most likely tomorrow, maybe some cancellations. It is just the way snow and ice operations work.
To help, the airport has extra resources on hand.
We have certain chemicals that we deploy and certain equipment tactics that we use, but any inclement weather is a challenge.
And as the weather worsens, he says it's vital for you to plan ahead and have patience. Benit Brach, CBC News, Abbotsford.
This winter storm is also causing big concern across much of the country, especially for those who need BC's shelter system. Lindsay Duncombe shows us how overwhelmed it is and why it's a constant struggle for some to keep warm.
As the wet snow piles up, anxiety grows outside the Union Gospel Mission.
When the beds are full, you can't get in.
Terry Gilbrook has been turned away before.
They only got so many beds, and that's it. They got, they even got mattresses on the floor here. Now that they put down 20 extra ones, and they're even full. So I ended up 2 weeks out down there at Stanley Park, wandering around doing this and doing that. And a lot of nights you couldn't do nothing, you couldn't sleep, so you walked around and stay warm.
That can't be good for you.
Oh, no, I'm 74 years old now.
There are 92 beds here, including those 20 mats on the floor. Once an emergency measure, now permanent.
Lives are at stake when we're looking at if there is or isn't enough shelter for people to go to in this inclement weather. So this is one of our shelter rooms.
The shelter turns away an average of 6 men every night.
We are looking at individuals who are just at a place of desperate struggle, and there's more people who need help than ever before.
Shelters across British Columbia have similar stories. In Chilliwack, a shelter with the capacity of 26 houses 50 a night, mats inches apart in the dining room. In Mission, BC, 56 beds plus a dozen mats on cold nights aren't enough. The shelter there turns people away daily.
They need some low-income housing badly.
BC Housing says it's trying, investing hundreds of millions in affordable housing.
This is a crisis that is affecting us right across the province and in all kinds of income brackets.
This site will eventually have more than 100 studio apartments, many of them for the most vulnerable, but it's nowhere near enough to address the need. On this night, with all this snow, the city opened additional warming centers so everyone got a bed, a warm place to sleep, at least for one night. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
BC's healthcare crisis, whether focused on COVID or doctor shortages, has been unrelenting in 2022. From excessive hospital wait times to an endless search for a family doctor, British Columbians have faced immense challenges. I worked on this piece that walks us through what the year brought and what experts say you should prepare for as 2023 approaches.
Almost like we need Doctors Without Borders in Victoria.
My emergency room and my hospital is at absolute record overcapacity.
From Omicron to nursing shortages, a serious lack of family doctors, scarce medication, ER closures too.
An estimated 1 million British Columbians are without a family doctor.
Well known that COVID hit the Indigenous community hard.
Across the province, communities have been dealing with emergency room closures due to lack of staffing for months.
2022 has been another year of huge challenges for how to fix BC's strained healthcare system and what will become the new normal.
We started off a little bit in a difficult way, and then we slowly recovered.
So let's take a look back at some of the key moments of the year that was. January, ringing in a new year with yet another surge of COVID-19.
A COVID booster shot is one way to start the new year.
The province says the Omicron variant, now dominant in BC, is so transmissible it's almost impossible to dodge it forever.
And a new reality settles in.
Health officials say it's inevitable. Everyone may not get sick, but everyone will be exposed to Omicron.
The start of the year brought with it confusion around isolating. To February. It was just the beginning of protests against vaccine mandates and other health restrictions.
It affects where we can go, what we can do. People are losing their jobs.
I'm not anti anything. I'm just in support of Canadians having freedoms to do what they want.
And another milestone along the way.
It does look like we are at our peak of hospitalizations.
With spring just around the corner, so could be the last of pandemic restrictions.
March saw a shift in the way the public faced COVID-19.
BC is dropping its mask mandate at midnight tonight.
And then a return of in-person celebrations like Navroz, the Persian New Year. As April rolled around, the vaccine cards rolled away.
So long to scanning QR codes.
And as restrictions lifted and vaccine cards disappeared, another kind of wave.
I think we all have a level of PTSD coming out of this pandemic. I think that some of the stuff I've seen, like I can't unsee some of that stuff, and it's been really difficult to process.
By May, the waitlist for elective surgeries seemed never-ending.
It was one of the most challenging and difficult moments in the history of our healthcare system or in any healthcare system.
But then,
more than 2 years later, officials say BC's healthcare system has almost caught up. Operating rooms have had a record year.
As June crept up, small communities decided if they couldn't get the healthcare solutions they were looking for, they'd have to continue being creative.
Recruiting physicians to Creston is a full-time job created by the town council in 2006.
As COVID continued to spread through the province, other healthcare concerns lingered. An already critical doctor shortage took a different turn.
And now, they're doctors without a doctor.
In August, desperation hit new levels.
I placed the ad because I need a family doctor.
A newspaper ad with a $5,000 reward to help with the search.
I think it's terrible that I'm able to do that and others can't. It's unfair. It's not how the system was supposed to be built.
September brought a new school year, new classes, but the same growing crisis in healthcare.
Our emergency room has been closed at nighttime since the beginning of August.
Mental health care homes were also threatened with closures.
I would tell BC Housing, what the heck are they doing?
And a town hall to open up the floor on it all.
This is situation critical.
Think of the patients, though.
Yeah, we are thinking about the patients.
1.5 million visits is 1.5 million people getting care.
But October brought something fresh, some new dollars.
I think an immediate sigh of relief, which I'm hearing from many of my colleagues.
Doctors of BC President Dr. Ramneek Desange says the new deal for family physicians is the best in Canada.
At the heart of it, a new plan that pays family doctors more.
This payment model for family doctors will help protect and strengthen BC's healthcare system by helping to attract new family doctors and retain existing doctors.
As the year neared its end, Children's Hospital was plagued with long waits and shelves were empty as a shortage of children's medication spread.
You just don't know what to think. You don't know what you can do. You fear for your child's life.
December did not bring a restart.
I think every day throughout the pandemic, it's a very solemn day, and it still is.
The end of the year is a chance to reflect on 2022 and an opportunity to prepare for what's to come.
I think we should be embracing the new normal. We understand that COVID is never going to go away. And if we think of that as the new normal, if we don't grieve the old normal, if we embrace the new normal, that is going to go a long way towards helping us making it through, the winter.
We need to continue to make the progress on surgery because I believe if you're waiting for surgery, it's my general view that any wait is too long.
So after another challenging year,
have a happy 2023.
And hope for a better year ahead. Zahra Premji, CBC News, Vancouver. It's the time of the year for last-minute Christmas shopping, but recent snowfall has made things more difficult for shoppers. We'll bring you that story next. Thanks for sticking with us during our commercial-free live stream. In episode 2 of the CBC Explore series, Planet Wonder, our meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff looks at how climate change is affecting ocean currents and marine life. This is her demonstrating how dying whales bring carbon to the bottom of the ocean, what is usually called a whale fall. Take a look.
Rabbit hole time. So this cup of ocean water probably contains between 75 and 100 million phytoplankton, all just photosynthesizing, turning CO2 into oxygen. These are our phytoplankton. The phytoplankton get eaten by the cinnamon bun center, aka zooplankton, and they're just going to town on the phytoplankton at all times, just stuffing themselves with carbon. The zooplankton then get eaten by bigger fish. So the carbon is traveling up the food chain. All right, here you go. Eat your zooplankton. Okay, the fish then gets eaten by a bigger marine animal, like a whale. For these purposes, I'd like to be a humpback whale. I'm going to eat a giant carbon-stuffed fish. It's good carbon. Now, if any one of us dies, the carbon in our bodies will float down to the ocean floor. That's called marine snow. And it gets buried under the ocean dirt, where that carbon remains trapped for millions of years. If a whale dies, it's a big deal. It's called a whale fall. The whale body is just full of carbon, and it takes that carbon from the upper levels of the ocean all the way down to the bottom of the seafloor. We're up to 60 different species, then have those nutrients and that carbon in places where they normally wouldn't get it. This is why scientists say whales are a vital part of marine life.
Well, last-minute Christmas shoppers, your time is running out, and the recent snowfall has made things more difficult, along with new warnings to stay home. As Mira Baines reports, businesses are hoping to make up any shortfalls with Boxing Day sales.
For some, last-minute holiday shopping is the tradition. For others, a bad habit. But this year, snow and ice and frigid temperatures are adding more hurdles.
It stopped me yesterday, but I really I need to get some stuff, so.
I noticed when you order online, like this week, it won't come till after Christmas, so this is our last minute kind of shopping day.
Some stores say it was slower a few days ago. The Downtown Victoria Business Association says a foot of snow hit some retailers hard.
Not only people being able to get out and shop, but in fact staff even being able to get to work. We didn't have buses running. So it was certainly a significant disruption. I think by Wednesday we saw most businesses open.
With the changing weather, Canada Post is issuing service alerts. Yellow alerts cover the Fraser Valley, Metro Vancouver, Prince George, and South Vancouver Island. It means carriers will do their best to deliver, but there may be delays. The corporation already suspended service in some areas. Amazon Canada says we're closely monitoring reports of inclement weather across BC. Our delivery promises factor in forecasted weather and delivery dates are shown transparently at checkout. Bray says Boxing Week sales could make up for fewer pre-Christmas shoppers.
I also think that some of the demand that would be happening this week will get transferred to Boxing Week as people continue to shop for those things and maybe just have to offer it as a gift a day or two late.
Some smaller retailers say people have made the most out of the breaks in weather to do some power shopping.
We were surprised by the amount of people who were actually making the journey down to Granville Island, and we were talking to other people who work on the island. When they came in, they're like, yeah, it's so much busier than we thought it was going to be.
The Retail Association of Canada says 2021 was a stronger year for sales, but this year has also been squeezed by economic pressures.
It's a tougher economy. And the consumers are looking for value.
For now, the push is on for some shoppers to find those last-minute gifts ahead of the weather. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
Wow, that's gorgeous. Hey, that's near me. This was Mystery Peak on Mount Seymour earlier today. How gorgeous. Kuljeet Kaila will have your full forecast coming up next.
It's gonna be beautiful out here.
I can see that, yeah.
I just gotta dig some more holes to find where everything is.
Okay.
Lost Lagoon in Stanley Park is one of the last places you'd expect to find ice solid enough to skate on. But we found it this morning. CBC cameraman Doug McCormick, soundman Murray Wooding, and myself. We were the first ones on.
It's a beautiful day in Vancouver, and on the first day of winter, if anyone would have said to me a couple of days ago that I'd be putting on my skates and be the first person to skate on Lost Lagoon, I would have said they were out of their minds. It's been, I think the last time I had skates on was about 15 years ago, and it was a celebrity hockey game at the old Vancouver Forum with the media playing some broken down old hockey players. And before that, it had been about another 10 years, so I've been on skates twice in the last 25 years, and it will probably look like it after a while. Well, here goes nothing.
When you've been off skates for a long time and then start again, it's like learning to walk all over. The old legs buckle, the unused muscles creak, and you feel like falling down all the time.
Hey, it's great.
But it gets better, and the old coordination, rusty as it is, starts to come back. On my journey, I found Paul Botkin, who works for the city and is responsible for skating on the lagoon.
We need 4.5 inches for it to be safe for a crowd, 2.5 for one person. And over there it's down to 2 inches along that far edge, and there's open water at that end, so we've got barricades up to keep people away.
So this area that we're in right now is just great.
Rock solid. This is excellent hockey playing ice from, I haven't seen ice like this since I was a kid on the prairies.
By this time, the word was getting around. If a camera crew was on the ice, it must be safe for all. Many people I talked to had never skated before on anything other than an indoor rink.
Hi there.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine.
How do you like the ice?
Fine.
Is it better than an ordinary skating rink?
Yeah,
What do you like about it?
because it's out in the sun. It's much bigger and you get to skate everywhere. And
When they told me about this assignment, I was a little bit dubious because I haven't been on skates for 15 years. But after skating around, it's been wonderful. It's like swimming or like walking. You never forget. In fact, I'm having so much fun, I think I'll scrap the assignment and just go for a skate.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Well, of course, we've been talking about the weather all evening, so let's check in with weather specialist Kuljeet Kaila. Kuljeet, a lot to follow between snow, freezing rain, snow, cold. I really can't keep up at this point.
Yes, Zahra, lots going on today. There are a few warnings in place, including an Arctic outflow warning still in effect for today. Some parts of BC still seeing extreme cold conditions. And of course, an extreme cold warning is also in effect because of that. For us here in the Lower Mainland and for Greater Victoria, a winter storm warning was issued yesterday. Tonight, around 11 p.m., midnight, around this time, we will start to see snow start to fall. It will change to rain overnight and in some cases freezing rain, so it will be quite cold. A few things to note for today. Today's high was -7. The average for this time of year is around 6 degrees, so still very cold. Our record low was set back in 1970 at around 11 degrees. The estimated wind chill, because it is still pretty cold overnight tonight, -14 for Metro Vancouver, -20 in Abbotsford. This more snow that's coming on Friday will bring about 5 centimeters of snow and then a lot more precipitation as well in terms of rain. Look at these numbers over the next few days. Lots of rain coming our way, 40 to 50 millimeters on Saturday, up to 30 on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday each could bring about 20 to 25 millimeters of rain as well. So we really need to be prepared for that. If you're going outside or you're walking, there are also chances of some flooding at lower elevations. Across BC, temperatures will drop by about 5 to 10 degrees in the next coming days. Snow for Prince George tomorrow and -22. Still -30 and cold up in Dease Lake. A bit of snow there as well. For us, the next 5-7 days full of precipitation. Like I said, tomorrow 10-degree drop will be at 0 and lots of rain throughout the weekend and into early next week. It will start to slow down by about Thursday, but look at these temperatures. We'll be back up into the double digits and in the plus.
Thanks, Kuljeet. Well, that's your late news for this balmy Thursday night. Thanks for being here. Now, before your head hits that pillow, head over to our website, cbc.ca/BC, for the latest headlines and ferry delays. Remember, as my mom says, stay safe and be patient. Have an excellent night.